What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new album, I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me, by the symphonic deathcore band Lorna Shore. This is the 5th studio album from the symphonic deathcore. Some people call it blackened deathcore. It doesn't really matter, really, but this is their 2nd studio album with Will Ramos on the mic, who became a sensation almost immediately after CJ got fired from the band. Before his only album recorded with the band even came out, everyone was held in suspense on who the next vocalist would be. Then to the Hellfire dropped and people went nuts. And rightfully so. I think that And I Return to Nothingness is like one of the main, if not the main catalyst for deathcore being pushed further out into the mainstream. I mean that, and also probably because Knocked Loose played at Coachella, which is a pretty big deal too. But it had people who were like, here, like Will Ramos, like it's crazy because of how extreme it is. He sounds like a dying animal most of the time, or like a demon, and then the drums are just blast beats and insane, and the guitar riff, like there's no like groovy guitar riff most of the time. It's just and it made people who listen to like K-pop be like, you know what? I think I would listen to this. This sounds like a pretty solid band. And I personally think that Will's debut LP, I guess you could call it, with the band Pain Remains, is just a little bit better than I Return to Nothing. I feel like he settled into the band and he was able to just write something out that was super sick and very cohesive, and I just absolutely love it. But there are some people that have issues with it. The direction that the band has been going in since then, like the song is super symphonic, every song has blast beats, every song has technical guitar parts. Every song kind of sounds the same. I mean, even when they don't, it still has the same qualities. Like, okay, yeah, this is the same synth that they used in the last song. This is the same kind of guitar thing that they did in the last song or in this song. And I do get it. Like, it does have that same kind of general sound to all of their music right now. And when they released the first single for this new album titled Oblivion, I gotta say, it didn't really seem like things were going to change. However, hear me out on this one. I don't really think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's not like their music sucks. You know, it'd be different if their music sucked. It's like they just keep writing the same sucky song. But their music is really good. So they kind of keep writing the same badass song, I guess you could say. Oblivion is, to me, very theatrical, especially in its storytelling of a post-apocalyptic world that we are trying to avoid. But at the same time, we don't even really know how to avoid it. So we're just kind of like, hopefully fixing this will keep us from killing ourselves in the future. I don't know. To me, I kind of see humans as only really being able to destroy things. Like, sure, we could create stuff, but even our creations destroy things. Like, we could create a big old building, but in the midst of doing that, like, we've destroyed so many different things for materials and stuff. I feel like the only thing we're really good at doing is destroying things slower, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's kind of what he's aiming at here. I feel like the synth is used a little bit more strategically in this song than most things that we heard on the Pain Remains. And it really comes alive as it goes into the chorus with the drums. It sounds fantastic in verse 3 with the guitar riff. I really enjoyed the songwriting in this song quite a bit. The way it flows from each section just feels so natural. Like, it goes into the breakdown without feeling forced, and then it transitions right back into the verse again without really feeling forced. It's very seamless. And then when it goes into the second breakdown with Will having a little bit more of the spotlight, like, it just doesn't feel like they're just throwing like breakdowns in there to, you know, because they have to. It's a deathcore band. We have to have breakdowns. It feels like it's flowing into that direction really well. I know that this is a lot of time spent talking about one song, don't get me wrong, but this 8-minute long track, this first single they released, I feel like it's a really good representation of just what this album is. The opening track and the last single they released, Prison of Flesh, is also very theatrical, as it feels like something evil is coming, like something wicked this way comes, which makes a lot of sense being what the song is about. The verses focus more on the guitar for the atmospheric kind of stuff, with the synth being more dynamic, a little bit more operatic as it builds up into a climax once it gets to the chorus. And the breakdown is super pissed off, as he's pretty much explaining what it's like to be trapped within your useless body that has succumbed to dementia, something that Will Ramos has experienced a lot within his family. Also, he describes this as the Everblack, and also the outro is the second heaviest thing on earth, the first being your mom. And then we have the song In Darkness, which is a metaphor for the outcasts that this genre tends to attract. And honestly, I don't really feel that way too much anymore. I feel like deathcore and more aggressive music is more accessible, and I think that's because of the internet. You know, there's a lot of groups. There's our deathcore, there's a bunch of metalcore groups and deathcore groups on Facebook, and you can find all kinds of stuff all over it on TikTok. And so I feel like it isn't that exclusive anymore, inclusive, I don't know. I feel like it's not that cut off compared to like early 2000s, where like if you wore an Impending Doom shirt to school, you were probably the only person wearing anything that was harder than like Green Day back in the day. But yeah, anyways, this song is pretty much just a straightforward deathcore song, which I feel like is appropriate for what it's about. The guitar melody in the verse is sick. This is a really fun track, but I do feel like it kind of falls into the typical tropes of Lorna Shore, of having just a little bit too much synthy stuff going on in the chorus. It feels a little generic, I guess you could say, at least for this band. It feels a little overused, but at the same time, people are going to complain about it, but I don't personally think it sucks. I actually enjoy it still. It also does feel a little too formulaic in terms of songwriting, but again, like I said, it's just straightforward deathcore. And in terms of generic, I mean, it feels like Shadow of Intent wrote this song like 10 years ago. So, I mean, it doesn't sound bad. Honestly, like the guitar work is fantastic, the amazing lead work is really good, but the same could be said for Lionheart. The blast beats and the riffs scream 2010s deathcore. Only the synth brings in a different atmosphere to it, so I guess in a way the synth works really well in the chorus with the lead guitar. It doesn't have too many standout moments within the song, but the tone in the guitar solo is just beautiful. It reminds me of like, I don't know, Beast and the Harlot from Avenged Sevenfold, like something like that. Lionheart and Unbreakable both have themes of overcoming adversity and being really courageous and strong. While I feel like the latter does it a little bit better, Unbreakable is just more epic, albeit in a cheesy kind of way. The chorus is a bit anthemy, and the guitar harmonies definitely carry it, while the drums push the verses along really nicely. But I will say, I gotta give this song credit because it's one of the few songs that you could really get into and sing along with. Glenwood is one of my favorite songs, not just on this album, but I don't know, recently. I listen to this thing all the time. The meaning of it is super, super deep. If you get a chance to Google the meaning of the song, definitely do it, because he dives into it. He really explains what it is. He has had a falling out with his father from when he was very young, and he wants to reunite with him, so he decides to go and knock on his door, which is where he used to live, I guess. Like it's not like he's moved around or anything. It's a house that Will is familiar with. And when his dad opens the door, he realizes just what has happened, you know, in terms of time passing by. He realizes his dad is now old. A relationship with him is not going to be the same as building a relationship with him as if he was a teenager. You know, it's not going to be the same connection. And the house that he used to be in and he remembers is now covered in dust. The memories are gone. The tree out front is gone. And I feel like it just demonstrates nostalgia really well. I think that's what draws me in so much, because I tend to struggle with depression from nostalgia from time to time. Like a lot of people stay up at night being like, man, I wish I didn't say this stupid thing back in third grade. But I sit there late at night thinking, man, I wish I still had these friends that I had back in third grade. You know, I miss that feeling, that freedom of being in school. I miss the way my parents' house used to be, how it used to feel, you know, and just that's what keeps me up at night. And I feel like the song just rings so true for me. The chorus is full of emotion, and the harmonies are pretty present throughout the entire song, which I think helps it, but at the same time kind of hurts it, because it does make it feel a little repetitive and overused at times. A Nameless Hymn also focuses on the past, specifically the childhoods of basically all the band members who grew up Christian, and how they have kind of strayed away from the religion due to having people in their lives that judge them, or they just experienced people judging other people in just awful ways. The chanting in the beginning of the song sounds like an army marching, especially to the drums. The guitars sound haunting in the mix with a dissonant riff. It sounds fantastic. But the main star of this show is Will. He always sounds so good. He's always doing, to me, what I think is the most appropriate for what's going on, considering all the different stuff he can do. But in this song, he stands out so much in the mix, especially with the impossibly quick drums and the breakdown. I mean, the two of them together just sound so unreal. Death Could Take Me has a more traditional style, specifically within the band. It reminds me a lot of something that they would have released on And I Return to Nothingness. The riff is gnarly, the tempo changes are super brutal. It's also a pretty dark song about being in a position of power and like having to hide your emotions. Like Lorna Shore found themselves in this position when they like finally made it. They blew up. They became mainstream. People who don't know Job for a Cowboy, Suicide Silence, Whitechapel know the name Lorna Shore. So they became pretty popular. So they had to watch everything that they said and everything that they do because the mob of haters are always watching them. And it's like they had to, like, it was like walking on eggshells for them. At least that's how they described it. And it's got a really steady buildup. It feels like you're basically climbing a hill the whole time. To me, every time I listen to this, I found this to be one of the most overlooked songs, as it relies a little bit more on storytelling. So it took me a couple times of listening to this album before I was like, wow, this song freaking slaps. And then we have the absolute banger, War Machine. Another one of my favorites is an ode to the different bands that the members of Lorna Shore listened to while growing up. Hence the whole Lamb of God-esque kind of groove. And I just love like the twist that they put on groove metal within the song. It sounds so good. Will's low gutturals are perfect. I love this song. And I'm going to say it like 6 times. I love this song. It makes me want to pick up my guitar and play along. Something that groove metal has always done for me. Lamb of God has always made me want to learn the riffs and jam out to them. I feel like this is perfect. They did such a good job on it. And then we have the closing track, Forevermore. This is a really sad song. It's personal about Will's brother dying from a blood clot that ended up going up into his lung. It was very sudden. He was only 40 years old. And then Will later learned that he has the same kind of issues with his veins as well. That's why he wears leg sleeves, especially while flying, but you'll see him wearing them a lot in his videos, especially when he's performing live. I love how the synth and the guitar melodies kind of play off of each other. And the verses, the chorus is super powerful. It will give you goosebumps every single time. My only complaint about this song is the instrumental, like right in the middle of it. It feels a little too long. It's about a minute and a half. This is a 9-minute long song. Comes before the bridge and the beautiful guitar solo. So I feel like it would have been better if they just cut 15 seconds off. I don't know. It just feels too long. But honestly, like I barely even care. I really enjoyed this album a lot more than I thought I was going to because I'm one of those people that was complaining about it probably sounding exactly the same as all their past stuff. It's not as conceptual as The Pain Remains, something that I loved about the album. It just flows so well though. I mean, it does suffer from, like, a lot of the songs, they sound kind of the same, honestly. Specifically in the songwriting. It has a symphonic intro pretty much in every single song, and then it slowly starts to come in, and all of a sudden we're in it, and it's very theatrical and very epic and big. And then like halfway through, it cuts out, more synth stuff comes in. You can pretty much predict where the songs are going to go on most of the songs for most of the time. However, I gotta say, it doesn't really sound exactly like The Pain Remains. So it doesn't sound like its own album. That's something that I was really worried about. And you can make the argument that it does, but to my ears, I could tell the differences. When I listen to Pain Remains, I could tell the difference in the mix and the songwriting, all that stuff. So yeah, because of that, I gotta give I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me by Lorna Shore a 8.8 out of 10. I want to know what you guys think. I didn't quite like it the same as Pain Remains, but I still enjoyed it. So leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of the Everblack Festering Within Me. Let me know what you would rank it, what your favorite song is. And also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. And if you want to help support me further than that, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. I think I'm 30 subscribers away from 1,500 subscribers, which is a really cool astronomical number in my brain. So it'd be cool to be able to hit that. So if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It would help my ego out tremendously. And I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you have been watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.